I really hope that intro is as nostalgic as it is for me as it was for you. The Lost World Jurassic Park is an action-adventure platforming video game that was released in 1997 for the PlayStation 1 and the Sega Saturn. Now, there are some differences between the Sega Saturn version and the PlayStation version, but we're predominantly looking at the PlayStation version at the moment just because that's the one that I have. There are also some differences between the original release on the PlayStation 1 and then a later Greatest Hits release, which sort of updated a few of the gameplay glitches and such. But yeah, this game is really good. Like, I genuinely love this game so much. You sort of take on, there's a few different levels that you have in the game. You take on sort of different, different characters in the levels. I'll talk more into that in a bit. And it's just like a really fun action platform. And it's going back to it now, it's really hard. Like, it is genuinely one of the hardest platformers, PlayStation 1 platformers that I remember. It's brutal. Like, there is like a difficulty curve in this, and I'll get more into that as well. But yeah, this game's so fun. It was really good and like really nostalgic just to go back and just hear the sound effects, the dinosaur noises, the gameplay, just feeling that again. It was so good. So this is just some capture footage from the first level where you get to play as a compy, and I would say if you're new to this game, if you've never played it before, stick out the compy missions. I hated them so much as a kid. They're a little bit more enjoyable now, but you get into the good stuff later on in the game. Now, the second character that you play as, which I honestly think should have been the first character you play as, is a human. And he's like a hunter. This is when they start adding more mechanics into the game. It's a little bit more... I feel like this is the one section of the game that isn't planned out as much. You get like a grapple hook and like different ammo types to take on like the different dinosaurs that are coming up. I think in this bit you're kind of fighting the Allosauruses. Your standard ammo is like a tranquilizer, so you don't actually end up killing the dinosaurs. They just get back up after a bit, which is a nightmare. Always kind of reminds me of the Crimson Head zombies from the remake of Resident Evil. It's like you have to get like a specific item to actually kill them, and that's me realising I have grenades, which just, yeah, makes it a little bit easier. But the human levels as well, I feel like when you play as the hunter, the human, they massively like, I feel like they took a lot of inspiration from the Dino Crisis games, like just the way, not so much like the tank control because it's still like a platformer game, but like when they try and install that fear that you've been like left alone, survival, even though it's not a survival game, but it's still really fun when you get into it. But for me personally, this bit of the game is probably the weakest bit because it's a little bit clunky. It doesn't flow as well as the other bits of like the other characters that you play as in the game. Like, for example, if you're just to compare this to the bit when you play as the compy, a lot of the compy missions are quite straightforward. You understand the controls pretty quickly. While this one, like, just watching me here, I could not realise, because you can't crouch and move forward, but you can front roll, and I'm like, so you just have to do this through every small space? That's just a bit weird. But yeah, like, it just doesn't really gel as well as the rest of the game, but I still quite like it. But for me, when this game came out, it was just such a good, fun game. I think it might have been one of the first PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1 games I had. It was just, I have an obsession with dinosaurs. I love the Turok games. I love any game that has a dinosaur in it. And this game has some of the best dinosaurs in it. Not the best dinosaurs, but just some of the best dinosaurs. I wouldn't really be able to tell you. I'd have to do a completely other video of the best dinosaurs in video games and which games have them. Jurassic Park games would be in a lot of them. But yeah, so this is just a really fun game, but this is the worst section of the game. So you hang out this bit, and then you get to the greatest bit in the game. The Velociraptor section is awesome. Honestly, the developers, they must have, they messed something up big time, because they put the two worst bits of the game, the compy, which is slow and just tedious, and then the human section, which is just, it doesn't feel like the rest of the game, and they left this bit like the second half of the game. So this is the third character pass. There's a Velociraptor that's escaped from a facility, and you just get to murder everything. This gives me such, like, much better. It gives me such vibes of like the original Sega Sega Mega Drive Jurassic Park game, where you get to play as either Alan Grant or the Velociraptor. I did a video on that as well, but playing as the Velociraptor in this game is so good. You're like quick, you jump around, your attacks feel heavy, they feel strong. You feel like you are like just tearing through these people that can't do much to stop you. Like, they can still stop you, but like it takes a lot. And I feel like how they've animated the Velociraptor, everything about him is just great. Like how he feels, how he plays it. I feel like you could just do this as a whole game, and that would have been great. They could have just released the Velociraptor levels, and it would have been fantastic. Again, there is a little bit of a difficulty curve, but it's to be expected because this is way better. And like, just look at them like pouncing move, where you can just like full on take out an enemy in one and just immediately rip his head off, or like stab him with your foot claws, whatever they're called, toe claws. But yeah, this is such a fun bit of the game, and I'm genuinely curious in the comments below, like, what is your favourite bit of this game? Like, I don't know whether it's just me that's just saying which is the best bits and which is not, but I feel like that's the general consensus to this game, is you've got to stick it out to get to the great bits, which is like a bad argument for a game. But in the comments below, let me know, what do you think was the best bit of this game, or if you disagree completely and think it's all rubbish. I'm genuinely curious. I talk about this all the time with anyone in this game because it is so fun, and it is just, this is the thing, they don't make fun platformers like this much anymore. There's probably a few, but they're like the exception to the rule, whereas like this game just seems a little bit like, it was just so fun orientated. And then the final bit of the game, and I will fully admit right now, I had to use cheats to get to this because it just took so long. You get to play as the T-Rex, which in theory should be really fun, and I say in theory should be really fun. It's so hard. These T-Rex sections are just ridiculously hard. You just get attacked from, like, this is the first level as a T-Rex. I cannot do it. I do not know how I did it as a kid. It looks like I'm winning. Yeah, it looks like I'm winning, but I'm not, because look how quickly your health just depletes. It goes down so quick. Your T-Rex is too big for the actual screen, so you can't see what's coming behind you, and you just get jumped by everything all the time. It is so hard. Like, honestly, I have no idea how anyone was supposed to play this bit of the game, which it strikes this weird balance of being really fun like the rest of the game, but there's this difficulty spike which I find just almost impossible to get over. Like, it is just so difficult. There's nothing you can really do. You're a slow moving, supposed to be a tank dinosaur, I would say, like a tank build, but you're just not very tanky. You just take too much damage because they keep throwing, like, I guess these are like velociraptors, I don't know what these ones are, but they're just throwing so many at you, and they attack you while you're in animations that you can't get out of, like that. But yeah, so that is The Lost World of Jurassic Park, one of my favourite games on the PlayStation 1, and I'm genuinely curious who else remembers this game, who else has fond memories, who else likes this game. Please comment below, let me know what you think of this game, whether you like it or not, and just what memories you have of it. Well, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.